Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, where we explore fascinating tales from around the world. Today, we're diving into a beautiful Vietnamese legend that explains the origin of a beloved summer fruit. This is the story of my aunt Tiem and the very first watermelon. Our story begins long ago, during the era of the HNG kings, the legendary founders of Vietnam. Among the many people in the royal court, there was a young man named my aunt Tiem. He wasn't born into royalty. He was an adopted son of the king, but from a young age, aunt Tiem showed remarkable intelligence and a tireless work ethic. He was resourceful, clever, and never shied away from a challenge. King HNG saw this great potential in his adopted son. He trusted aunt Tiem with important tasks and often rewarded him generously for his efforts. Aunt Tiem's life was one of comfort and privilege, surrounded by the splendors of the royal palace. He had a loving wife, a beautiful family, and the respect of many in the court. However, aunt Tiem had a strong sense of self-reliance. He believed that his success wasn't just a gift from the king, but also a result of his own hard work and perhaps a little favor from destiny. One day, during a casual conversation, he remarked, "All the wealth and fortune I have today are blessings from heaven. Even if heaven were to take it all away, my own two hands and my mind are enough to build a life for my family." Now, this statement, meant to express his confidence and gratitude for his own abilities, was overheard. Word traveled quickly through the court, as it often does, and eventually reached the ears of King HNG, but the words were twisted along the way. The king didn't hear a statement of self-reliance, he heard arrogance. He perceived aunt Tiem's comment as a sign of ingratitude, believing his adopted son was disrespecting the royal favor that had given him everything. The king's disappointment turned to anger. How dare he, the king thought. After all I've done for him, he believes he owes me nothing. He thinks he can survive without my grace. Let's see if that's true. In a fit of rage, King HNG made a harsh decision. He ordered my aunt Tiem, along with his wife and children, to be exiled. They weren't just sent to a remote village, they were banished to a desolate, uninhabited island far out at sea. They were left with only a small amount of food, just enough for a few days, and no tools to speak of. As the boat sailed away, leaving them on the sandy shore, aunt Tiem looked at his worried family and the vast, empty ocean around them. His world had crumbled in an instant. Life on the deserted island was a brutal struggle for survival. The first few days were spent desperately searching for fresh water and edible plants. The family had to build a crude shelter from branches and leaves to protect themselves from the sun and rain. Aunt Tiem, true to his word, used all his resourcefulness. He taught his family how to find shellfish along the shore and identify edible roots. His hands, once accustomed to fine silks and royal decrees, became calloused from digging and building. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. The initial despair gave way to a quiet determination. They had survived, but it was a meager existence. One afternoon, as Tiem was scanning the horizon, he noticed a flock of seabirds flying overhead. One of the birds dropped something dark onto the sand. Curious, he walked over to investigate. It was a handful of small, black seeds he had never seen before. Instead of dismissing them, a spark of hope ignited within him. He thought, if a bird can eat this, perhaps it's a plant, and if it's a plant, we can grow it. With nothing to lose, he carefully collected the seeds. He found a patch of fertile soil further inland, cleared it, and planted them, watering the spot daily with fresh water he carried from a small spring. He tended to his little garden with immense care. His family watched, their hopes pinned on these mysterious black seeds. To their amazement, tiny green shoots soon pushed through the soil. The shoots grew into long, sprawling vines that snaked across the ground. Before long, small, round, green orbs began to form on the vines. The fruits grew larger and larger, their dark green skin becoming smooth and glossy under the tropical sun. Tiem was cautious. He didn't know if they were edible. He waited until one of the fruits was perfectly round and felt heavy. He picked it, and with a sharp rock, he cracked it open. Inside, the flesh was a startling, beautiful crimson red, dotted with the same black seeds that started it all. A sweet, refreshing aroma filled the air. He took a small, hesitant bite. The taste was incredible. It was sweet, juicy, and incredibly refreshing, quenching a thirst he didn't even realize he had. He gave some to his wife and children, and their faces lit up with joy. It was the most delicious thing they had tasted in months. And Tiem decided to name this wonderful fruit Dahu, or watermelon, literally meaning western gourd, because the seeds had come from the west with the birds. They now had a sustainable source of food, and a delicious one at that. The vines produced more and more melons, so many that his family couldn't eat them all. This is where Tiem's ingenuity shone once more. He didn't want this gift to stay hidden on the island. He had an idea. He began carving his name and a brief message onto the thick green rinds of the largest watermelons. Then he would carry them to the shore and cast them into the ocean, letting the currents carry them away. He hoped that someone, somewhere, would find them. His plan worked. Far away, sailors on a trading ship spotted a strange green ball floating in the water. They fished it out, curious. Seeing the carvings, they were intrigued. They cut it open and were amazed by the sweet red fruit inside. They had never tasted anything like it. Following the ocean currents and finding more of these carved melons, the traders eventually traced the source back to Tiem's remote island. When their ship landed, they were astonished to find not a deserted island, but a thriving little homestead with a family and fields of sprawling vines bearing the amazing fruit. A trade was quickly established. The merchants brought rice, cloth, tools, and other necessities, and in exchange, Tiem gave them his precious watermelons. Word of the Melon Island and its delicious fruit spread like wildfire among seafarers. More and more ships came to trade. and Tiem's humble island shelter was replaced by a sturdy house. His family was no longer just surviving, they were prospering. Their life, built from a single seed of hope, was once again comfortable and full. News of this incredible story eventually traveled all the way back to the mainland and to the royal court. When King Hng heard about a man named Tiem, who had turned a deserted island into a prosperous trading post using a fruit no one had ever seen before, he was stunned. He realized his mistake. Tiem wasn't arrogant. He was truly capable, resilient, and virtuous. He had proven that with hard work and a clever mind, one could indeed create their own fortune. Filled with remorse and admiration, the king sent a royal ship to the island. He officially pardoned Tiem and invited him and his family to return to the mainland. The reunion was emotional. The king apologized for his hasty judgment, and Tiem, showing no bitterness, graciously accepted. When he returned, Tiem didn't just resume his life at court. He brought watermelon seeds with him. He taught people all over the kingdom how to cultivate this amazing fruit. The watermelon, or daehu, became popular throughout the land, cherished for its refreshing taste. And so, the legend of Tiem lives on. To this day in Vietnam, the watermelon is more than just a fruit. It is a powerful symbol of good luck, resilience, and the pioneering, hard-working spirit of the Vietnamese people. It reminds everyone that even when faced with exile and hardship, a little bit of luck and a lot of determination can turn a barren island into a paradise. Thank you so much for joining us for this incredible story. What did you think of Tiem's journey? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this legend, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more tales from around the world. We'll see you in the next one.